The Witches of Eastwick, the Wicked Witch of the West, Winnie the Witch, Witch Consumer Company. They're all witches, aren't they? Yes, of course they are. But what of the witches in The Sleeper and the Spindle? Hello, welcome to the Bottled Imp. My name is Ken Boyter and this is a fantasy review show. Today we're going to be looking at a book that I came across by accident. I was meeting an editor friend of mine who is helping me with my own fantasy book and we were meeting in a cafe, a beautiful cafe called Leaf in Hertford, and not only do they sell cakes and coffee and teas and all that kind of thing, but they also sell children's books. Now, this book, The Sleeper and the Spindle, that was just there on the side by the till. I was just buying a cup of coffee and it got me. I looked at the cover and I thought, wow, it's fantastic. And here it is. Look at that, it's beautiful. There's lots of beautiful illustrations as well. I looked at it, enticed me, it kind of trapped me into buying it. And am I glad that I did? Well, let's take a look. So let's have a look at The Sleeper and the Spindle. It's written by Neil Gaiman, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who is of Doctor Who and Stardust and Coraline fame. He's written loads of good stuff. He also does a few comic books, a few graphic novels. And it's illustrated by Chris Riddell, who, his most famous one is the hugely successful, big best-selling series called The Edge Chronicles. And this story, as you can tell, it's mainly about witches. Or is it? There's also a queen in it. It's set in a mythical land, as you might expect. And the quest is to go and rescue a princess who is sleeping. Now, does that sound familiar? Kind of, because obviously that's Sleeping Beauty, surely. But Neil Gaiman doesn't just do the Sleeping Beauty story. He brings in a bit of Snow White. He also brings in a few other kind of known devices and storytelling aspects from other old fairy tales, and he kind of gives them a modern twist. So this queen is on the quest and she has her little dwarf soldiers, and they are really funny. Each dwarf has a different personality, as you can imagine, and they are her soldiers and they're going to go with her. And she's not like a weak queen who is just beautiful and intelligent. She actually also dons her suit of armour and grabs a sword, and she's just as feisty as the dwarves. Now, the setting is a brilliant setup. Obviously, if you have read Sleeping Beauty and you know that story, then obviously you're going to expect a certain story. Well, Neil Gaiman does make the changes. He twists, he puts new plot twists in, he puts new slants on old variations of storytelling aspects. He also makes sure that the story is engaging. Obviously, you'd want it to be engaging, wouldn't you? And it doesn't flag at any point. There's enough quirks in there. Each character that you meet along the way is quirky. It's very original. There's some unexpected twists, and there's one main unexpected twist a bit further down into the story. Obviously, I'm not going to give any spoilers away. So there's enough going on in there to think, oh, actually, yeah, this isn't just a Snow White and Sleeping Beauty ripoff. There's more to it than that. The dark nature of it was quite surprising to me. I didn't quite know the age group for this book. It's illustrated, as I say. So I was kind of thinking maybe 8-year-olds, but I don't know. There are some quite dark things that are written in there that I wasn't expecting. So I would probably say 10 years plus. If you're an adult and you're reading this, then yeah, it's one of those stories that you would think, I think I know this. But because Neil Gaiman has done a different modern telling of it, there's enough dark kind of, not horror, but enough darkness in there to keep you intrigued and keep you guessing about what's going to happen. The writing aspect, it's very direct and very purposeful. It's very crisp. There's no flowery language, which is kind of a good thing, because that means that the story moves along at a real quick pace. And if you've got a quest story like this, you do need the story to move along very quickly. The other aspects is that he does have a good imagination, a real fine imagination. So he creates other fantasy creatures, and he creates other aspects of the book that you may not have seen anywhere else. And which brings me on to Chris Riddell and his illustrations. They are beautiful. They are so finely drawn. They're pen and ink. They're very detailed, and you can really get lost in them. And so the illustrations are a perfect match for Neil's writing. The publishers Bloomsbury have done a really good job pairing these two up. They really complement each other. And when I first looked at the book, I couldn't put the illustrations down. I really just wanted to flick through all the illustrations. At the same time, I didn't really want to spoil it for myself, because I wanted to sort of read the story and then discover the illustrations that went along with it. But I kind of found myself just looking at mostly the illustrations to begin with. The characters are believable. They're not cliched. As I say, the Queen actually is very feisty. She's caring, she's understanding, but equally the dwarfs aren't as you'd expect dwarfs to be. Well, they kind of are, but obviously there's a bit of a twist to them. And the other thing about the illustrations, is that they are pen and ink. They're black and white. And again, I wondered about that for children's books, but in this day and age, because everybody's used to computer graphics and CGI, they're beautiful, and every illustration has a metallic gold splash. So again, that just adds an extra layer, an extra of luxury with it. As I say, the characters are believable. All the characters are likeable, even the sort of despicable ones, which is a real plus point. Overall, I loved this book. It just really filled my heart with joy. It's one of those fantasy books that you really just want to read. You want to reread it. I started rereading it pretty much straight away. I love the illustrations. They're beautifully done. They're the sort of illustrations that if you have any, passion for drawing, that you just kind of want to copy them and draw them and maybe, change a few of them. And they're really inspiring, as is the writing, as is the story. So the Bottled Imp definitely recommends this book. It would be a great gift. So if you've got a birthday for a grandson or a son or anything like that, or a daughter or anybody in your family that loves fantasy, definitely recommend this book. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching that review of The Sleeper and the Spindle. Hopefully you've read it, or you are going to read it. Either way, get in touch, leave some comments, let me know what you think about the review and the book. And remember, if you would like us to review anything at all that's to do with fantasy, books, films and board games, please leave comments, let us know, and hopefully we'll be able to oblige. Please subscribe, all of that, you know the score. Take care, and we'll be back with you with another review shortly. Bye! Can't believe I've done the thumbs up. I've done the thumbs up. That's a no-no. That's cheese. They're all witches, aren't they? Yes, of course they are. But what of the witches in The Sleeper and the Spindle?
Okay.
Is that cheesy enough?
Jade, official.
Cheeseometer? It's about a 10. That was 10?
Yeah. Got nowhere to go.
Out of 10?